Good. I was just telling Joe we're COVID suspicious. Debbie's very unwell. You'll no doubt hear her cough at some point.
Are you guys vaccinated? Are you guys vaccinated?
Yeah.
All right.
Both double jabs, so it's not going to be anything serious. It's either a very nasty cough that she's got or COVID. So obviously we're suspicious.
Yeah. Do you guys have the quick test thingies?
Yeah, we got tons of them for Deb's work.
Yeah.
They're all sitting down there. We'll both do a test tomorrow. But I think the way it goes is that even if Deb is positive, I think I probably can't go out and see people.
Sure.
Can't imagine it's going to work any differently to that. Oh yeah, your wife's got COVID. That's fine. You can still come and teach people drums. I don't see it. I don't see it going that way.
That'd be great, though.
Yeah, so I'll offer video lessons, to whoever can do that, or reschedule their lessons to another time. No biggie.
Do you give drum lessons to like kids, or is it adults, or both, or what?
Both, all ages.
Yeah.
I've had as young as 4 and as old as 74.
Ah, cool.
Nice.
Yeah, I like it that way. It's interesting with the kids. I have to manage parents' expectations and be quite firm with when it's too soon. There's a stigma around quitting that I run into. People don't seem to like to start something and then take a break, come back later. Maybe it's a British thing. Maybe it shows up in more cultures than just that. But
for sure.
They seem to want to persevere. There's a value judgment on perseverance over saying, you know what, it's too soon. Come back when the kid is asking questions. Because a lot of the time it's more appropriate for a 4-year-old to just bang around.
Right.
So I say to them, take the money that you would have put into lessons, buy a drum kit, and let them just hog smash for a while. Right? And then bring them back when they start asking, oh, how does it go in the songs? How is the drummer on the record doing it?
Yeah.
They don't tend to like to hear that, so that leads to some interesting conversations.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because, like, a lot of times professionals, they all have these stories about starting at a very young age, and we maybe know from experience that, like, something that we started at a young age, is helpful, but then at the same time, like, you don't want to, like, ruin a kid's childhood,
Right, so in those professionals, history is one of two things, either a strong affinity or strong discipline from some elder somewhere.
Yeah.
Maybe both. But certainly my favorite players who have those stories are the naturals. The kids who just, you couldn't get the sticks out of their hands if you wanted to. And of course, they're the musicians that we all want to go out and enjoy. Yeah.
What kinds of music are you guys into?
Oh goodness, I've been through everything, Doug. I've been through everything. Hey, Alex.
Hey, how's
Alex.
it going?
What's up?
Hey, guys.
Joe was just about to tell us what kind of music he's into.
I don't
Sweet.
I actually don't really listen to music. Yeah.
What the hell, man?
I don't know. I guess it's like a sign you're getting old or something. You just are like, I like singing to myself though, but it's starting to get to the point where like I don't really care to discover new music. I'm happy with the same songs that I listened to when I was 16, and they're probably just gonna be there with me at this point. And
So you're not averse to music. That was my first fear.
No, I'm not averse to it. I just find that, like, especially relating to my practice, a lot of the music that I listen to is like not really helpful. I was really into like death metal and like gangster rap music, and like both of those are not really like maybe the most wholesome things.
I'm still into both of those.
And they can be wholesome if you just like ignore like the lyrics, I guess. But yeah, there's just something Yeah, about it. That I don't know.
I can actually relate to what you're saying, and I've watched myself being like, man, can I still? I'm not sure if I can still listen to this anymore. But luckily for me, so far, a few things have remained, and I've always been like, man, as long as there's still something about it that I'm enjoying, I'm not gonna keep myself from listening to it.
Yeah.
Right. Love it.
It's just the attitude that you're listening with. If you're feeling a lot of like joy and peace, and then what difference does it make? You know,
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter what they're saying or anything.
Got it.
Yeah, for me,
How you doing, Alex?
I'm all right, man. I'm all right, guys.
Is that the real answer? Facial expression tells me otherwise.
Yeah, I'm not feeling too good.
What's that?
I'm really at a loss for words. I just keep doing the practice, and
Great.
you know, I'll take a breath and I'll enjoy the breath, and then I'll feel some relief, and then I'll acknowledge myself for that success, and then all of a sudden, like, overwhelm or anxiety will come or doubt will come, and then I'll be like, nope, I'm not going near that. I've decided to not you know, go anywhere near that. I'm just gonna enjoy the breath, and I'll return back to the breath. And it just gets to a point where, like, I'm like forced to tap out. I just, it gets so difficult. I feel like I'm seeing doubt and failure all the time now. It sticks out like a sore thumb. I can't even just allow things to be the way, like, I can't even just practice how I used to practice. Everything is
Okay.
just more coarse. I see everything in very, very fine detail, very coarse detail. And I was talking to Keyshawn, and he was like, you know, it's not enough to notice the breath. That's Western practice. What we're doing is, it's an active process. You notice the breath, enjoy the breath, and then bring wholesome thoughts in. And I'm like sitting here in my head, like, you got this. You can do this. Like, you're going to do good. And I just feel like I'm going fucking crazy, because it's not. It doesn't. I can't say it doesn't work, but there's many, many times that I find evidence that it doesn't work. And whatever I was doing a few days ago, I can't do now. It's
So
like,
varying degrees of success and failure. Right? Does that sound inaccurate?
no, doesn't sound inaccurate.
Every practitioner will tell you that they've experienced varying degrees of success and failure along the way. That's what happens when we look back over a period of time. But as I keep telling you, what we're interested in is right now. It sounds like when you put your attention on right now, enjoy that long breath, acknowledge that as success. It sounds like there's relief. Then it sounds like that relief isn't enough for you, and there's the dukkha. Does that sound accurate?
Oh, and I've been noticing that too, where I'll be like, oh, well, what do I want more? Oh, there's wanting more. Okay, that's good seeing. Let's just bring back to the breath. And it just, I just feel like I'm doing it so much. Like I'm
Yeah.
going back to the breath, phenomena, 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 and I'm always seeing it, whether I'm intentionally intentionally noting it or not. And it's just
Yes.
it's difficult.
What's missing, brother, is you're not patting yourself on the back for all of this. You deserve that pat on the back.
I don't
The rest of our brothers here will back me up on that.
I don't know how. I don't know how anymore. I don't know how.
Well, so you're coming face to face with this tendency within your conditioning to call yourself a failure. And the lack thereof, the ability to congratulate yourself. Can you find even a flicker that says that this is wholesome, this is beneficial, this is worthwhile? This is where the victory is won, brother. You have a tremendous opportunity here, and we're all right behind you. To see this and say, do it. Be okay right now. No matter what the phenomena are, I can choose the breath instead. I can acknowledge that as a success. And I deserve a pat on the back for that. I deserve congratulation. I deserve praise.
I know what you're talking about, and I do that. It feels like there's something wrong with me. Like I can't actually do it. I can't actually do it.
You
Like
have
there's something missing in my brain or something.
Well, and that's precisely what we're here to discuss. So you're in the right place. You have done this successfully. That's a heck of a lot more than most of the population can say. You have done this successfully. You've seen in your direct experience that it's possible. Therefore, there can't be anything terminally wrong with the hardware. It's not that there's some part of the brain missing, because you've done it at least once.
I know what you're saying, and like that's what I tell myself too, but I don't even see that right now. I don't see that I've seen it. I don't know what I've seen anymore. I can't trace it. I can't look back to my memory and be like for certain that I did see something and that I have evidence that I can do this.
Well, there's the benefit of Sangha, is I can tell you that you experienced that. I remember it well. I remember the genuineness of your being in that relief. I remember your smile. It's genuine.
But what if I just was faking it? What if I was pretending to myself? And that was maybe at least a little better than now, but it was still pretend, and hence why I am where I am now.
Well, now we're trying to investigate the past, which is a fool's errand. The best we have is that I can tell you that I experienced that as genuine, and I think you experienced it as genuine too. That you can't bring back that feeling right now doesn't take away from the point that's important here, which is that we have evidence that it's possible. Certainly you could say this, that what you experienced was a better condition than what you're experiencing now. It was in the direction of Dukkha Nirodha, correct? I'll tell you explicitly, it was. It was in the direction of all of my positive values. Doug?
Yeah, I wanted to mention two things. One, what I've experienced a number of times, that backlashes are not only common but almost to be expected. in a way. And sometimes it can even feel like they're coming back even harder than it was even before. And another thing, I'm not sure if this is at all applicable here, but I've done some reading in the in Daniel Ingram's book, and he mentions a phase in the process of insight practice actually, where at first everything's going smooth with your practice, and suddenly you cross a barrier where you find that none of the shit that was going so well for you before you can do anymore, and that it's kind of the nature of that crossing a certain line that can bring this about. And I'm not sure if this is at all applicable here, as I said, but the principle behind it, something just struck a chord there for me, that this could happen.
I think it's a useful reportage to bring in. Many practitioners, Alex, report these two things that Dhav just mentioned. Now, they're not things that we want to aim at, but they are things that people report in retrospect. It seems that everything's going well, and then there's this backlash, this kind of equal and opposite arrival of some massive dukkha. Or then number two, that you cross some threshold in practice, all in big air quotes. This is all just using language to report on our practice as best we can, but we see thousands of these reports that it seems as though some threshold is crossed, and then we, for some reason, no longer have access to all of that good practice that we were doing. Or what's the answer in both of these cases? Keep practicing. To keep using those skillful means gently, but with resolve. Confidence, because we've confirmed for ourselves over and over and over and over again that no matter how shitty this gets, practice is the way out and through.
Dan, what do you think? What do you think if we decompose it? He said that the practice is going smoothly, and then some shit happens, and like you can't overcome something. I mean, is that what you said? Like a change of phase? Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
If that's the case, then let's decompose it, because it's reality is composed of experience, and then there is what you add to it. So what was going smoothly, everything was going smoothly, and then there was something that happened. Maybe it was the perception of impermanence, anicca, something that went like you did not expect it, and then there was your reaction to it. You didn't like it, and when you didn't like it, there comes the dukkha sort of thing. I don't know about your situation, but is that the case? Well, let's try to decompose, because there's nothing like it's going smoothly then shit happens. It's too general, and it doesn't describe it very well. Like, let's decompose it. Like, what actually happened? Was there disappointment? If that's the case, then you should let go of what you were attached to, and right there, when you let go, you overcome it. That phase that says like you can't do it, you overcome the actual phase. The phase is not there anymore, and everything is great again.
what happened is I just took in a breath, let the breath out, enjoyed the breath, noticed that there was enjoyment in the breath, acknowledged that as a success, started saying wholesome thoughts like, this is good, I can do this, I'm doing a good job. And then some kind of thought showed up, like, I don't really know exactly what it was, but it's something like that resembles doubt or frustration, or
Did you believe
even
it?
just even
Did you believe it? Did you believe the thought when it arises? That thought of the doubt, of that unwholesome thought, did you believe it actually? Like right there, did you believe it? You should not believe it. It's fake. It's lying to you. That thought is fake. You should see it just as a thought, as a habitual, a bad habit in the mind. You see it as a thought and throw it away.
that's what
Don't
that's what I saw it as. Yeah, I because I made the choice to not, in that moment and every moment forward, I made the choice to not engage with that unwholesome stuff anymore. Just, no, I'm not doing that. I'm going to focus on the breath and enjoy the breath instead.
You also
And
can be okay with the thought when it arises, because the thought is going to arise. That you cannot always prevent it. An
no, I
unwholesome
know.
thought will arise. You cannot always
I know.
stay with the breath. It will arise, but you should be really fast. When the thought arises, don't believe it.
I was
Right
very
there.
fast.
At that
Was
moment.
very fast. Was very fast about it. It's like, okay, I'm just going to enjoy the breath right now. Like, I was very,
No, you come back to the breath. No, with the thought. At that thought, stay with that thought and see it as a thought. Just a thought, and you do not believe it. Don't go back
well,
right to the breath. See it as a thought. Like do it like that.
well, I was doing that for like the past couple days, but that got to be a lot of work for me, and it got complicated. So then Dan and I talked this morning, and he's like, let's just enjoy the breath right now. Let's make it easy. Let's put it on easy mode for you. And so I tried that, and so I was very rigorous. Whenever I saw the thought, I was like, okay, no, I'm not going to stay with that thought. I've stayed with that thought so much for the past few days. I'm very aware of what doubt and frustration and these unwholesome sensations look like. So I'm just gonna come back and enjoy the breath, and let this be enough right here. Let this can be satisfying, and that's what I was saying to myself. And somehow, for some reason that is unbeknownst to me, there's just more sensation of doubt and failure, or sensations in the body too, that just get so overwhelming that, and I do the same thing. I'm like, nope, I'm not gonna do that. Or like, oh wait, no, now I'm really worrying. Like, man, I really can't do this. Nope, there it is again. I'm not doing that. I'm just gonna enjoy the breath. And then I would sometimes acknowledge myself for it. I would say, okay, I'm doing good. And it just seems like nothing I'm doing is working, and no talking about it is working either. I feel like I know everything that all of you are saying, but it's not hitting me like it
Okay.
was. These practices aren't actually permeating like they have been.
Okay, man. Look,
It's like just empty words.
I get it. Okay, so these thoughts, these sensations, they're not you. You are not the thought. You are not the sensation in the body. So what you got to do, if they arise, let them arise. Do not believe them. Let them arise. And let them cease also. They arise and they cease. Let them cease. Don't hold on to them. Okay, I'm going to be mindful of that thought, and you hold on to that thought. No, let it rise. It rises on its own. You're not that thought. You're not that sensation in the body. So let it arise and let it cease also. It will arise and it will cease by itself, because they are not you. And when they cease, just go back to the breath. Stay with the breath. And do
I've
it
done
all
that.
that time, so you will progress when you do it. again and again, get there. And
I don't want anyone, Muhammad, I don't want you to hear this like you're not being helpful or anything, but everything you're saying, I've been doing. I've done that.
Debbie's got something to add.
Hiya.
Hey, Deb.
Hello. I may sound really different because I've got a really bad. Anyway, I heard what you said, Alex, and I want to tell you something about my smoking behavior, right? So I've been struggling with it. I've been kind of playing this whole trying to talk myself out of it when the urges arise, right? And I've noticed something, that the more I tell myself not to smoke, my ego starts behaving like a whiny kid. They'll be like, no, but, and the more the urge will come up, right? It's because it perceives that no as a kind of negative thing, right? It gets threatened and it tries to force and come back at you with double energy. So if you tell yourself that no, from here on, I'm not going to believe this, I'm not going to focus on this, it's going to be all the more threatened and come back at you with more energy. Instead, what you can do is, like Dan always says, coming back to the breath. Now, I believe that you've tried that so many times, but what generally tends to happen is we can enjoy the breath in a superficial level and then on a deeper level where you're actually engaging in the bodily sensations. And I have noticed on the superficial level, I can enjoy the breath, but it does not affect anything. It doesn't change anything in me. But when I actually engage in enjoying the breath in a deeper level, I find this markers like my shoulders, my frowns will go away. So maybe you can investigate and see what kind of physical markers actually let you distinguish on which level you're engaging with the breath. And then that task, if you start doing that, that task is going to act like a distraction, right? And then you're not telling yourself, no, you're not going to engage in this, you're going to take a breath instead. But if you tell yourself that, at the back of your head, you're still expecting those two steps to fix it for you. But if at the moment you investigate your breath and your bodily sensations, like, oh, let me figure out which level of engaging with the breath am I doing really? What are the physical markers? How tense is my shoulder? Am I sweating really? Has my frown gone away? Are my hands cold? This kind of thing, it's going to take your mind off, right? Does that make sense?
It does, yeah, thanks. And that was something I saw today too, where I noticed it kind of just sometimes goes into like going through the motions, focusing on the breath. And it's just like there in the background, just like when you're like watching TV and things are like there in the background. But then I noticed like, oh, okay, what about actually like enjoying the breath? And then when I do that, it does seem to help.
Yeah.
Just.
But I hear you. It's easy to, get to that deep level of enjoyment of the breath. So I find like actually looking for these physical cues can trigger that engagement on a deeper level. Because you're not just telling yourself mentally, oh, take a breath, and just going on at yourself and repeating a phrase. You're actually trying to do something. I feel like that helps me. Maybe it can help you. Just give it a try, maybe.
Thank you, Deb. Thanks.
Adding on to what Debbie said here, it struck me a bit from what you shared from your recent experience, Alex, that At least partly, you seem to be going at the whole thing with a bit of an attitude of like that it kind of seemed a bit forced to me. Like, okay, now I'm gonna do this, and like a bit like you've something in you at least was trying to latch on to, okay, this is it. I gotta do this. I gotta do this. And while this deliberate approach, of course, can be helpful, it's kind of what I really like how Debbie put it, that it's kind of put a more restriction on it, and more of a must and should, which in itself can feel restricting and trigger a like a cranky response from within, of course.
Well, must and should is dukkha, right there. Right, and there is indeed kind of urgency, right, Alex? Urgency. You want to get out of your dukkha expectations, Satori. Yeah. Does that sound accurate, Alex?
Thanks, Dag. Well, just the sense that, you know, this Dhammarato says very clearly, like, this is an active practice. This is not a passive practice. So, I mean,
so now we're getting to a finer level here when we say, well, something can be active and urgent, or something can be active in a gentle way, kind way, loving way.
and that's what I did. That's what I was practicing today with the breath. I was trying to be just take one moment at a time and enjoy the breath, but not, you know, you said you don't have to like audibly sigh. You don't have to like, you can just take in a breath, let a breath out. And I was
yes,
reminding myself to be gentle.
Yes, that's great. I'm certainly not talking about, when I mention gentleness versus urgency, I'm talking about physically how you're breathing. I'm talking about attitude.
I know, dude.
And there's something that I've noticed in myself, and also, for example, with Nora, that this, I don't know how much it is with you, but this kind of sense of urgency and must that we have, it can be so deeply ingrained that it's possible that it can latch onto virtually anything, man. And I've found that one of the most helpful things, at least momentarily, is that when you catch it, because you can catch it, you can see it playing out with, before it played out with, I don't know, I gotta do this work or that kind of work, or I gotta keep up on my appointments or whatever, and then that burns you out, and you see, and you turn to meditation and mindfulness practice or whatever, and then it sneakily, subtly latches onto that. And when you see that it does that, and when you've seen it enough times, at some point you will see it, and you will be able to laugh at it for its persistence, for its for the stubbornness in it, in a way. At least I have experienced it like that. That there was a point of like a heartfelt laugh, because it's in a way so absurd, and you see that you in a way can't help yourself with it, at least not from now to the next second, that you can just make it go away. But when you just catch it and see it, and it doesn't mean that it necessarily stops, but you can at least have this little second of, oh man, yeah, All right, that's how it goes. That's pretty absurd, man.
Yeah, and the degree to which we can really celebrate those moments is the degree to which we're able to kind of rev up our positive reinforcement. And this is why the focus and attention on the successes is so important. What's the smallest unit of success that we can find? Can we move with that and then begin slowly, gradually, that upward spiral, as opposed to being caught in ahas?
That's what I call the smallest unit. That's the smallest.
Right.
You measure it in ahas.
Nice.
It's 3 ahas.
Yeah, right. Because aha isn't trumpets blaring, is it?
No.
Like, we're not saying we've got to start up the fanfare. Can we at least get an aha? Yeah, that's great.
If we can't get a aha, we could get a ha, right, Dag?
Yeah, which is the I see you, right? And Alex, I know there's been so many of those going on, but you're determined that those don't count as successes, right? Or at least you might be saying the words to yourself as a success, but it doesn't seem to me that you're really acknowledging that as a success. Like I see when you gave me the kind of play-by-play that you gave me when we spoke on the phone earlier today, I heard nothing but success. But you feel like it's all a failure. Well, how can that be so? Because it's about interpretation.
Yeah, I think one of my greatest challenges right now is the smallest unit of success to find. I don't know. It feels like there's something missing in the connection that I could be making for that unit to actually appear successful for me. That small unit of success to appear successful. That's what's missing.
So let's examine that then. Is it or is it not a success? To see what the mind is up to come back to the breath, the present moment.
Man, it's not
I
missing.
see it as like something that I see it as like a guideline. I see it as like something that is to be followed or practiced. I don't see it as like, wow, this is amazing. This is really successful, because it's not even really something I'm actively doing anyway. It's something that's just kind of happening on its own. I'm just seeing it. It's difficult to say that I have anything to do with that success. And the more and more I convince myself that it's successful, the more and more doubt is like right on the other side of that. And so it's like, it's like it feels like a losing game.
Do you see the
Man,
disproportion?
you're not missing anything. That's the truth. You're not missing anything. The success, the sense of success that we're talking about, the sense of happiness, is already there. When I told you these thoughts, don't believe them, and you told me, okay, that you don't believe them, but then you're saying that you're missing something. Whenever that arises, you should not believe it. You're not missing anything. It's already there.
Indeed, there's nothing missing. And we have evidence, as I mentioned earlier, that that's the case, because you have been successful in this more than once. Now, Debbie had a really poignant question.
Yeah. Do you see the disproportion in what you just said, or in your entire narrative? No?
Do I see the proportion?
Disproportion, yeah. So to me, it seems like you are struggling to appreciate your success because you feel like it's either not relevant enough or worthy enough, Or maybe you feel like it's not really you that requires or deserves the appreciation. But when it comes to, oh, there's doubt, there's all of these negative things, you very quickly claim it as yourself. My failure. You see that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got Doug going for sure.
I do
I
see
can
that.
only say that because I've been there. I do that. And I think what can be useful is to keep in mind that all of these negative things that you're experiencing, these are not exclusive to you. These are things that everybody experiences. So instead of thinking, oh, I am being this, I am struggling, I am not being able to, think this is something that is happening. And this is like really linked to what you were saying about you experiencing as if a part of you is missing, right? Because one time you're able to and the next time you're not, so you're confusing yourself as to what's the deal? What am I not doing correctly? Right? So it's maybe useful for you to kind of try and detach yourself from whatever arises in your mind. If you feel like it's too much to, claim all of the positives as yourself, if you feel it's too much for you to right now identify all the positives as part of you, at least see all of that as neutral. You know what I mean? Does that make sense to you?
Let's at least be consistent.
Yeah.
Right?
Let's consistently detach from all of that instead of selectively accepting the negative and not appreciating the positive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
I think you're doing a really good job at listening, Deb. I appreciate you showing that you understand my situation and how this process has been for me. Honestly, I'm not trying to be difficult. It just appears to me that no matter what like tips I'm getting or feedback I'm getting from you guys, it feels like there's like a switch in me that is taking everything you guys are saying and like just avoiding it. I don't know what it is. It's like it's not reaching me.
So
I'm not able.
To be examined.
What?
That's something to be examined now. Right? Is well, hey, here I am. I've come to the Sangha call to receive support from all my friends, and yet I'm not taking these words as fully as I could be. That there's something going on. It seems to me that as I said to you earlier on today, it seems that you've got a big old chunk of ego cornered here, in a way of speaking, and that it's kicking and screaming and is determined to not go any further with this practice, and so is shutting everything down. I think you said yourself as well that there's a certain kind of fear around the practice, around being happy. So feelings of deserving.
Yeah, and I mean,
facing down.
What?
Seems that this is what you're facing down right now.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not that I'm not taking your words in to like help me. It's that
No, you're not taking the words in though, because you're in the hindrance right now. So you're not taking the words in. You're absolutely not. So you don't have to justify because you're not. And that's okay. Just observe that.
it feels like I actually physically can't. Like there's something that
observe
can't.
that. Just observe that.
Just a sensation.
Yeah. and it's really powerful stuff to examine all of this, right? So we've got this kind of disproportionate going on where the negative is yours, but the positive is not. And then we've also got, as Joe's skillfully pointing out here, that it seems this you can't accept these words. So indeed, as Joe says, let's be honest about that and examine it. How could that be the case? You've decided so many times that it's worth making these calls.
I can't even say that that's what it is though, Dan, because there have been so many times over the past days that I have taken every single word that I've gotten from every teacher, from every friend of mine. I've taken every
right
word.
now, but right
I've
now,
understood
right
it.
now, it doesn't matter. The past doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. You just have to do it right now. So you got to do it again. And it sucks. I know it sucks. You know, I'm aware I'm giving you like kind of like advice that it might physically feel repulsive right now, but you got to do it. You know, you don't really have a choice.
Yeah, I agree. When the mind decides that this is too hard for me, or for any reason I don't want to accept it, it finds all different kinds of reasons to justify. It'll go to the past, to the future, come up with intelligent reasons and justifications, but the best thing to do is examine. Ask why, what, and be consistent, like hammer yourself to the point you can't answer yourself, and then it may all fall apart. Like, why can't I? Right?
I don't know anymore.
Okay, so the not knowing is something to examine. Like that thought, not knowing, that's something that's interesting to examine. Just keep catching, like each moment that something like that comes, you just keep catching it, you know, and it just starts there. That's the you know. But you can't keep thinking in terms of this like this sort of game, sort of like it's a game that I'm going to win, and because I did this in the past, it means anything in the present, you know.
Yeah, I keep noticing it. I keep noticing what you're saying, Joe. I keep noticing it. I keep noticing it. I keep noticing everything that's going by.
That's great.
It's just.
That's great. That's all you got to do.
I feel like I'm losing
it'll
every
change.
time.
It'll change. Yeah, but it'll change on its own. Like, and you know that too because you've been here before. You know, you've been in this mind state. You felt sad. You felt discouraged. You know the feeling. We all know the feeling. You definitely know how it feels. And you know it's going to change. It's the nature of things. Things change. Sometimes things just come. Like, we don't know why. It's just how it is, you know? Exactly. Anicca.
You know what I find pretty funny right now? We sometimes with Nora we have these moments where she is like in a kind of closed up, hardened, so to say, hardened emotional state, and I see this parallel here to you, Alex. And sometimes I'll just go at her and look at her and be like, and I'll do that until she cracks and laughs. And I kind of had the impulse to do it right now, but I don't know how well it works via Skype. It works better in person.
So, Alex, you played with those kind of interrupts before, right? I believe it was a toilet roll that was the Dan Goldfield action figure.
Yeah.
That you and Abby were waving in one another's face. Whatever works. There you go. Palm tree. Don't wrong in Canada.
There it is. There was the little smile.
Wait,
Yeah.
it lights up. Hold on. I can make it light
Hey!
There it is.
This is Lulu. This is Lulu.
Thanks, guys.
You can be sad and discouraged and all these other feelings, and you can also like maintain this sort of disconnection from it and allow those feelings to just be physical sensations in your body. That's the best way I like to think about it, is that when it gets so overwhelming, just come back to the body and allow it and be like, is it so bad feeling this sadness, my depression, whatever it is, you know? Is it really that bad? And how does it feel in my body, you know? And you'll investigate it, and I don't know, generally it's not that bad. Sometimes it's like a tightness in my throat, like, you know, that's the general one that I notice. Or sometimes something like in my chest or my stomach feels upset or something like that. But the reality is that it's just physical sensations, you know, it's just more sensations that are there, and you can still maintain your attention on your breath even while that's going. And so you can kind of like smile and cry at the same time. And it doesn't make sense, but it's possible.
Yeah, this is a lovely direction that you're taking this in, Joe, and it reminds me of a number of times when I discovered that I was very attached to the practice being a certain way and to the results of the practice, that at times I would just throw my hands up in the air and say, I give up. I'm going to stop trying. And I'm just going to be with this. I don't know whether that shows up in a sutta or not, and I don't much care right now.
I think it's letting go. Is that not letting go?
Yes.
I find it interestingly easier for me to let go when I'm exhausted, either like cognitively or physically. Like sometimes, you know, you just get into a rut where you're like constantly talking to yourself, and you follow this long train of thought, and you reach a point when your brain just goes, fuck this, I'm not going to go there anymore. And it's just such a deep relaxation. I enjoy that a lot. So yeah, definitely there's like so many different ways, and I like to believe that there's no single way that can benefit someone all the time. Our circumstances are so different. Different challenges, different strategies.
Tools.
Rick, we haven't heard much from you. How are things with you?
Well, I came in late, so, you know, it seemed like the direction that this conversation was taking was where it was. So I didn't want to break in with anything. Pretty well. I'm just getting over that cold that it seems like Debbie has. And yeah, but yeah, things are cool. I had an interesting experience last night while I was dreaming. I think it was towards the last part of my sleep, but even though I wasn't aware I was dreaming, within the dream, I was aware of my thoughts and I was observing my thoughts within the dream. It was very strange. I'd never had that experience before, but it was very interesting. Not enough to say, oh, I'm dreaming. I couldn't figure that out until I was awake, but certainly it was like a practice going on within the dream. And I thought, wow, I must be meditating a lot if it's infiltrating other states, right? So I thought I would definitely like to share all that with you. Just as an interesting observation. I don't know, I'm not going to look at it as a sign of progress. I don't know that that's true. It's just an interesting situation that I ran into last night. I'm like, oh, wow. Enough to where I was able to remember it and everything. Oh, okay. That was pretty cool. I thought so. Yeah.
That is cool. I've never heard it. I've never had that happen. So it wasn't like you were lucid dreaming. It was something different.
No, it was more like within the dream, I was reflecting on the thoughts I was having. That's what was going on. It was not like I was consciously, I wasn't sitting, meditating in the dream. It was more like as occurrences were going on, I was watching my reaction to them, emotional reaction to them. Yeah, so that's what happened. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Bye, Alex.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye, Alex.
Bye.
Thank you.
Take care, man. It'll be all right.
Rick, was that what you wanted to catch up about? I know that.
No. It was just. I just want to wish you like a happy New Year's. That's all. It was just simple. Nothing fancy. Nothing was pressing. It was just, oh, happy New Year, dude.
It's you too, brother. We made it in the end. Always worth trying.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I didn't have anything like heavy going on. So.
Did you celebrate?
A little bit. Like I said, I just was making it through that yucky cold. So we just I think we took a nap right until 11:30, and then we woke up briefly, did our little good luck grapes, and then maybe around 1:30 went back to sleep for a good long while. So it's just it's very low key because we're both recovering. So that's it.
So you had a nappy New Year.
And Happy New Year. Clever. Clever. That deserves a t-shirt. Happy Nappy New Year.
Hamid, thanks for joining us again, brother. Oh, we can't hear you. Are you muted?
I told you I'm happy to see you, everyone, and I also wish you a happy year.
Good.
I don't think I have ever met him.
Ah, well, Mohammed, this is my wife, Debbie.
Very nice.
No,
How are you? All good?
Good. I see smiles all round. Is there anything else anyone wants to bring to the table?
Just a suggestion. Okay, you go ahead.
All right, thanks. What Rick shared about his dream reminded me. I had some time ago. I had a dream, in which I also did not become lucid, but it was very interesting because it was like in the morning, like it must have been like 10 minutes before I actually got out of bed or something, and I was lying there in bed dreaming that I had already gotten up and was getting dressed, but I had from the two thingies that I put my clothes on every day. I had one. I usually have one of those, and there were two of them for some reason in that dream, and they were making a mess of the space that I have here, of the arrangement. And all the time I was like, this is strange. Something's not right here. It wasn't enough to actually make me lucid in the dream, but I was like, something's not right here.
Dreams are interesting.
And at the same time, I was really totally convinced I had already gotten up.
Great, I get to do a do-over. It's a mulligan.
Yeah.
Maybe you can get up in a better way.
That morning routine, right?
It's like Groundhog Day. Let's do it perfectly.
Mohammed, what's your suggestion?
My suggestion was if you can talk a little bit about the 5 hindrances, then because I really wanted to tell Alex that he's not missing anything. And that's like the real thing that he really needs to get is you're not missing anything. You're not missing anything. The real happiness already is inside right now. And so the five hindrances, they may be obstructions in the mind, things in the background that are going on that make it not easy to see that he's not missing anything. The five hindrances, just to reflect on it a little bit.
Great idea. Yeah, it's been a long time since I read up on the five hindrances, so I'll either need to do a little revision or maybe you guys can help me out.
It's like sloth and torpor. That's always the one that I remember because that's the one that I'm like, I'm always like shifting between like, is this sloth and torpor or is it like relaxation? Like, I don't really know.
Is it sloth or is it torpor? Feeling more like sloth today, not torpor.
I always feel like it's a matter of moderation. We can't take it to the extremes all the time, isn't it? Sometimes you need a little bit of sloth to reach the optimal. When you, especially like when you're have been going at it for a...
Well, yeah, I suppose we could talk about it if we were to talk about it as a spectrum. They were moving in the direction of sloth, but I think the Buddha meant something quite specific, right? Which is where, I think, it would be useful for me to go back and revise that, and certainly to share it with Alex. So that's a great suggestion, Mahan. Have you read up on that stuff recently? Maybe you can talk to us.
The five hindrances. There's the first one, like I think it's desire for the world, right?
Yeah, desire. Yeah.
I think it's the Buddha gives it the image of being in debt. I don't know. You're being in debt. That's the desire mind that wants to take it away. Makes it difficult to appreciate the things that we already have, like being greedy about things, wanting to acquire stuff and that kind of stuff. The second one, it's hatred, ill will. It can be more than not liking. Like people can really hate things, ideas, hate anyone. Someone can do something bad for you and you hate them. Because when we say hating, everyone will say, I'm not a hateful person. I don't hate anyone. I love everyone. And then suddenly when you are put in a bad situation, maybe someone insults you, you start insulting back. And then you start hating.
Or even, when you're trying to, use the washroom and the stalls are all taken up. Oh, I hate all these people in there. It's not personal, it's more of a general hatred of the situation. Nothing that happens a lot.
I think the best thing with the hindrances is like, for me, is like just identifying, like trying to identify like what I'm in right now, like what it is. And that's kind of the most helpful thing that I've found personally in my practice, has been, okay, what is preventing me from practicing something more wholesome, and yeah, that's kind of the best thing that I've found with the hindrances, to not make the hindrances a hindrance, which they can be if you get too hung up on the hindrances. And but naturally a result of good practice though should take you out of the hindrances. This is the thing. If you practice like the Noble Eightfold Path and 7 Factors of Awakening, you naturally are not going to be in a hindrance there. is my understanding and what I've seen a little bit in my own practice. I don't know if anybody had anything to add to that.
Yeah, I think the value always was for me in reading up on stuff like Hindrances was a depersonalization. So, this is stuff that everyone's been talking about for 2,500 years. Nothing special, right?
Yeah, when it doesn't feel so personal. Yeah.
Alex,
Like that.
Hey, Rulaz.
Hey, Rulaz.
Hey, how are you?
Good, brother. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Happy to see you all.
Good, likewise. What's been happening?
Work.
How's it going?
Family
I mean, you were
meetings.
having a bit of a struggle when last we spoke.
Yeah, I got feedback from the client. And they changed up the whole stuff, so I'm stuck in the same thing again. But at least now I'm relaxed. So
All good.
there's no problem. Yeah.
Oh,
That's even more important. That's probably
yeah.
more important.
I know. And you, how are you all? Happy New Year. We haven't seen each other.
That's right. Happy New Year.
Debbie's sadly unwell.
Oh.
She doesn't look that sad. She just looks unwell.
I hear you, Dan. Very, I don't know how to say it, low.
Yeah?
With very low volume.
Oh.
I don't know what's happening.
I have an idea.
Now we can hear you really well.
Yeah, I'm close.
You can hear your chest anyway.
How's my pulse?
It's pretty steady.
And how's this?
Now it's an echo.
An echo?
Yep.
Yeah.
Shit.
Is there a way to just pump your volume up just for you?
Don't think there is. Just gonna get the microphone closer. How's this?
As good as it's going to get without headphones, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I'll try my best to listen closely.
Now, listen, I was actually gonna check out soon anyway, Rulaz. So unless there's anything that you wanted to bring specifically, I mean, as always, you guys can continue after I'm gone. But
Oh no?
anything in mind specifically?
No, it's good and clear.
Cool.
I
Great.
actually,
Well, I'm gonna check out then, guys.
I actually have
I'll hang around if
to-
anybody wants to hang around.
I'll hang around too.
I
just got
want
here.
to go too, but I got a little thing that I want to share. It's actually a pretty cool little thing. I had a, like, I don't know, 2 or 3 months ago or something, I had my, like, the first real Satori experience. I shared it with you, Dan, that same evening still. That lasted for, like, I don't know, long enough to grasp it in a way, long enough to really feel it for a second. But lately, these last days, at times, I've been having like these mini-satoris at times where, like, at least like for a second or two, I was like, something that is not the identity actually realized, oh shit, this is me. I'm home. I've always been home. And that was pretty cool.
Good. Thank you for sharing. Always wonderful to hear about those kinds of experiences.
Yes.
I see the big smile that accompanies, and I know if I were a betting man where I would put my money, which would be on more and more of those experiences showing up for you from here on.
Yeah, it was so nice because there's this effortless knowing in there, like, and a relief, like, oh man, yeah, that was what I felt I was missing for so many years.
Good.
Then it's just to integrate the experience, you know. That's the key, because like you can have experiences, but then what does it affect in your overall daily life, right?
Yeah.
Like what does it change? And that can be really important to examine, especially right after experiences happen. You can be very much more open, I find, to change, because your mind is open to that possibility. So
Yeah.
it can be a good opportunity now.
I'll keep that in the back of my mind.
I've heard something about experiences. I don't know if it was with Dhammarato, but it's like when a child plays into a piano recital. That, well, it's the culmination of a lot of stuff, but that's not the end. Like, it's not the end of his practice. It's not like, congratulations, you are now the master of piano, but it's like, congratulations, it was fantastic. Like, it's like one-time experience, and the kid keeps going, the kid keeps enjoying and stuff like that. Like, it keeps coming, and he gets better and better and better and better, and well, the recitals are always better.
Good. Yes. Love the image. Yeah. Okay, guys. Well, this has been fantastic as usual. Thank you all for helping our brother Alex out in his time of need. I look forward to hearing from you all again soon.
Thanks, Dan.
Bye,
See ya.
Dan. Bye.
See you then.
Head on.
Bye.
Bye.
I love you.